This conference will now be recorded.
Let us talk about residual payments today. In the last session, we talked about partial payment, wherein we are able to track the payment history with the help of partial payment concept. When it comes to residual payment concept, there is no concept of payment history tracking. You will not get the payment history if you are going ahead with residual payment, because the moment you pass the residual payment, your original document will get cleared. The moment you go with residual payment, your original invoice will get cleared. For the remaining amount, system will create another open item, which will lead to unnecessary confusions. Now, let us pass one entry into the residual payment. Let's pull our vendor line item report. DEIN. Let me take this vendor 100690. 100690. Current outstanding for this vendor account is 60,000. Let's assume that out of 60,000, I am making a payment of 20,000. Here I'll put invoice amount is 60,000, credit balance, and I'll make a residual payment of 20,000. If I make the residual payment of 20,000 against an open invoice of a 60,000, there will be a balance of 40,000. There will be a balance of 40,000, assuming I am making another residual payment for this balance. I'll make another residual payment of 10,000. After making another payment of 10,000, my balance now will become 30,000. Let's assume I am making another residual payment, 3 residual payments. We did 3 partial payments. Let us pass 3 residual payment. Third residual payment, let's say I am making 30,000. Now here balance will become 0. In short, if I highlight only the residual payments, this is your residual payment number 1, residual payment number 2, residual payment number 3. 20,000, 10,000, 30,000 is what we are making as residual payment against one single invoice. Let us pass this entry and then check what will happen with the vendor account. According to our statement, we assumed whenever you pass any residual payment, your original invoice will become cleared. System will tell the original invoice 60,000 is already paid. Let us check whether we are able to track the outstanding on the invoice number for 60,000, or we are unable to track the payment history or current outstanding. Same process for any kind of a payment in SAP, whether you pass normal payment, whether you pass partial, residual, or on account. The only difference comes for your advance payment. Otherwise, for any kind of a payment, it is the same process. F-53. Let me pass the payment with current date. I'll put residual payment. Residual payment 1. I'll take this bank account. First amount is 20,000. Residual payment 1. Vendor account is 100690. Let me put here 100690. There is only one open item. I'm not selecting any of the criteria. I'll proceed with none, which means whatever is available on the vendor account, everything will be populated as open item. Click on process open items. Here, if you see the invoice amount is 60,000, you are able to see the amount assigned is 60,000. By default, system is assigning total invoice amount, but according to us, we are making the payment only for 20,000. If you see the amount entered, we entered only 20,000 credit balance. What I am going to do, I am unselecting this so that my amount assigned has become 0. Our intention is to make a residual payment. The first one standard is a normal payment, second one partial payment, third one is residual payment. We are planning to make the residual payment. Double click on this residual payment. When you select the residual payment amount or amount tab, you will get another option to input residual amount. In this, we are making the payment of 20,000 out of 60,000. Let me try to put 20,000 here and then check what happens. When I put 20,000, system is asking put plus minus a symbol. But on the partial payment, system is not asking us to put positive negative symbol. Whatever the amount you put without symbol or with symbol, system is adjusting accordingly in case of partial payment. Right? In case of partial payment, system is not expecting you to put positive negative symbol. But in case of residual payment, it is clearly indicating check plus minus sign of the difference over payment. So which means when you are making any residual payment, you have to be very careful because it is going to create another open item. It is going to create another open item for the balance amount. I'll remove this. Let me press enter once again. According to us, our payment amount is 20,000. Let me try to put negative 20,000. I'll put minus 20,000 and then I'll press enter. If I put minus 20,000, system is assigning 40,000, correct? According to me, my payment amount is 20,000. When I put 20,000 here, this 20,000 is not becoming into the assigned column. This 20,000, whatever I put is going into non-assigned column. In partial payment, this is happening ulta, correct? Now let me do the same thing on partial payment column. If I put 20,000, assigned is becoming 40,000. Balance amount is going to assignment. Let me cancel this. Let me show you for the same thing on the partial payment. On the partial payment, I don't put any sign. I'll simply put 20,000. On partial payment, I'm not giving any sign plus minus. I just press enter. System is automatically taking amount entered as 20,000. System taking the minus symbol on its own. It is not asking you to put negative sign, positive sign. On the partial payment, whatever the amount that you enter as payment amount is becoming the amount assigned properly. There are no problems, there are no confusions, issues with the partial payment. But the same thing when you try to do it with residual payment, the way system behaves is changing. Let me go to residual payment now. In partial payment, whatever I did, I will do it here. 20,000 I kept there. I'll put 20,000. I did not put any plus minus symbol. Here also I am not putting any symbol. I'll press enter. The moment I press enter, there is a warning message appearing, alerting me to input positive negative sign. I ignore the warning message. Let me press enter. If I ignore the warning message, if I press enter, it is taking, even though I put 20,000, it is taking as 80,000. Is this anywhere relevant to the payment that we are planning to do? No, this is nowhere relevant to the payment that we are planning to do. Now, these kind of confusions are there in your residual payment if you do not understand the concept. In residual payment, this will always work based on the balance amount. Whenever you are planning to make the residual payment, you should always think about your payment amount plus the balance amount. You have to always think about the payment amount plus balance amount. If you think only about payment amount, you will be wrong. If you think only about the payment amount, your residual payment understanding will be wrong. If your invoice value is 20,000, if your invoice value is 60,000, you are planning to make a residual payment of 20,000. Out of a 60,000 invoice, if you are planning to make 20,000 residual payment, you have to have two calculations. Calculation number one, what is your payment amount? 20,000. Calculation number two, what is the balance amount? 60,000 minus 20,000 payment will result 40,000 balance. These two numbers you have to keep in your mind before you pass any residual payment on the system. Otherwise, you will end up posting entry incorrectly. System will give a warning message at the bottom. Normally what we do as a general practice, even in real time, as a consultant, we will tell any warning message that comes on the system, we will straight away blindly tell the user, press enter and then proceed. Blindly we will tell even in real time to any user who says I am getting a message. You see that okay, this is just a warning message, press enter, system will proceed further. Quite common thing in any project, whenever you get any warning message, you blindly tell the user to press enter on the keyboard to ignore the warning message. Now I did press enter. What happened? It has become 80,000. I am trying to pay 20,000, but system is assigning 80,000 here. Something is going wrong here. So nowhere 80,000 is relevant. You need to understand, whenever you are making the residual payment, you will always play with the balance number, not with the payment number. If I want to play with the balance number, let me remove it, press enter. Let me remove it, press enter. Put 0. Now if you see here, amount entered is 0. Sorry, amount entered is 20,000, assigned is 60,000. Let me untick this. What I want system to do here is, I want system to capture payment document for 20,000 rupees. If I want system to track payment document, or if I want system to update 20,000 as payment amount, I must input balance amount here. Your residual item always represent the balance amount after the payment. If your invoice amount is 60,000, you are planning to make the payment is 20,000, which is this amount entered. You have to deduct invoice amount minus amount entered. 60,000 minus amount entered at 20,000 will give you 40,000. This 40,000 will become residual balance. This 40,000 will become residual balance that you have to put here. If I press enter for the 40,000, if I hit enter, this is becoming 1 lakh. If I put 40,000, this is becoming 1 lakh. Not assigned is becoming 80,000. This is happening because I am ignoring plus minus symbol. In your accounting, you are not supposed to ignore plus minus symbol. As a FICO consultant, you should never ignore it. Things will go wrong. You cannot even imagine what will be the impact of this. Assuming your user is posting the entry like this. Let's say he'll simply put difference posting. He'll try to simulate the entry as usual. It is passing the entry, but if you see 20,000 is there, 80,000 is there, 40,000 is there, 60,000 is there. If you look at this entry, after posting this entry, whatever the amount that is going to reflect in your vendor account is nowhere relatable to anything. You cannot relate your vendor outstanding to anything because you are going to look at the vendor outstanding at a huge number. Completely it has changed. Let me pass this entry to create confusion. Assuming that I ignored, whenever you get like this blue highlighted, that is because text field will be mandatory. I'll put this. Let me go back. On your simulation, whenever you find blue color highlight like this or bold highlighted in the new GUI pads, either it will be highlighted with blue if you are using old logon pad like me. If you are using new SAP logon pad, it will be bold. That means one of the mandatory fields are not inputted. If you see this in the text, there is a mandatory option. It is not filled up. That is why this is giving the message. Enter. Just go back and let me try to post this. This is giving a message. this is giving a message, which means this is giving a runtime error or this is giving a dump. It's talking about GLT0. Let's check the document splitting things. SPRO, SAP reference, financial accounting, general ledger accounting, business transaction, document splitting, activate document splitting. Let's try once again. This is currently activated. That was because it would have found that was deactivated. Somebody is locking this. Currently it shows as active. Let us pass the entry once again. F-53, same information, residual payment, bank account 20,000, residual payment, vendor account. Let's go to residual item. I have put 20,000. In fact, I put 40,000 there. Let me put 40,000. Ignore the messages. Post differences. Let us simulate this, and I'll put this. Let me simulate general ledger. Go back. When I try to put this simulate general ledger, it is unable to split because of different reasons. The reason number one, there is no profit center filled up for the line items that are not referring to the invoice. Line items which are not referring to the invoice does not have the profit center. Staking GLT0 is related to your classic this one. Let us verify this document splitting once again to make sure that this splitting is not causing this problem. Who is this? We are not sure whether this person has saved it or not. S4HANA 319. Copy. SM12. Close this session so that whatever the data is logged by him will get unlocked. Now let us make sure we keep this active. 12 is active. Come back. Now F-53 once again. First, let us try to simulate the actual the residual payment. Then we will be simulating the scenario that we were getting the dump. 690. Let me go to residual payment. Our payment is 20,000. According to residual payment, in the residual payment column, you should always give the balance amount, not the payment amount. If you give the balance amount, system will update the payment amount automatically. What you should do is, residual item is always representing the balance amount. Out of 60,000, if you are paying 20,000, balance will be 40,000. You have to pay attention on this sign. This is currently 60,000 credit balance. You are making payment of 20,000. Out of 60,000 credit balance, if you pay 20,000, the balance will be 40,000 credit balance. You need to put that 40,000 credit balance. If you put 40,000 credit balance, if I hit enter, you will see the amount assigned has become 20,000 automatically. Right? System will take the difference between net amount and the residual amount. In short, invoice amount minus the payment amount will give you the balance amount. You have to give the balance amount, system will automatically take the payment amount. After this, let's go to document, click on simulate. If I go to document, if I click on simulate, this is what is happening. This is giving third line item wherein text is mandatory. Let me go back. Now let me give simulate general ledger. If I give simulate general ledger, this is not working. The moment I put simulate general ledger, we are getting a short dump. We are getting a dump the moment we give simulate general ledger. What I will do, I'll try to pass one more time. F-53. Let's assume that this error is coming because of document splitting. Now, why we are assuming that this error is coming because of document splitting? For the reason, let me simulate once again. Payment amount is 20,000, so balance amount is negative 40,000. Go and simulate. If you see this is your bank account in which we have not given any profit center, correct? In bank account there is no profit center. This is your vendor account. This is your vendor account wherein we are selecting the invoice for the partial payment or the residual payment. Now we are on the residual payment. We have selected the invoice for residual payment. Now this 20,000 whatever is updated is for residual payment. But technically if you see the system, nowhere 20,000 is updated. According to us, our payment is 20,000, but nowhere there is 20,000. One way it is showing 60,000, the other way it is showing 40,000. The amount that you are entering as payment is not reflecting. Let's say because of this reason, system is unable to select which profit center it has to take and how it has to put the profit center. Let me go to bank account and I'll try to put a profit center here. Let me go to bank account. I'll put a profit center here. Let me go back. Now I have put profit center. Let me try to simulate general ledger now. Still we are getting the same error. But we do not know why the error is coming. Let me read through this. Message store exception. Triple zero balance. What I will do, let me check the document splitting type for the document type. Let me select not this one. Exit yes. Document type for document splitting. We are using KZ document type. For KZ document type, you are getting 1000 and 0001. You are getting 1000 0001. But instead of 1000 0001, let me try to use this one. Clearing transaction. The document type which contains clearing a transaction. I am going to use this one, KP. I can change for KZ also, but I'm not changing it right away. I'm going to take the document type where the splitting transaction is 1010, which talks about clearing transaction. Because in our residual payment entry, system is performing clearing transaction for the invoice and it is opening another payment document, another amount for balance open item. Let's assume that KP will solve the problem, clearing transaction with 1010 splitting transaction. Let me try to pass the same entry once again. F-53 partial payment, residual payment. 20,000 is the payment amount. This will be the residual payment. I'm not giving profit center now also. Let us verify. Residual payment. 40,000 will be the balance amount. Let's go to document, simulate. Let us input this, go back, and let us simulate general ledger. Same problem, we are getting the same error message. Let us input the same entry once again by updating profit center now. Same thing, residual payment 20,000. Residual payment, let me input the profit center now. Residual payment 40,000, negative will be the balance amount. Let us simulate. Double click on this, update the text. My mistake, I am not changing the document type here. We know that was the problem, document type, but I did not update it. F-53 KP is what we were talking about. Now I'll simulate using the first one. This is document number not updated. What I'll do, I'll not update the document number. I'll simply assign KZ document number range for KA also. This is coming from here. It is logged here. Now, even when you are working in a project, if these kind of errors are reported, you need to make sure the similar way you are testing. The similar way you need to test different cases. You need to make sure all the different cases are working. Whatever the cases that are failing, you need to fix the problem related to splitting or any other thing. After fixing the problem, you need to ensure all the scenarios again tested to make sure that this scenario is working, but other scenarios are failing again. This is quite common in system. If you fix something, something else will come up as an error. You need to always ensure along with the reported error, all the associated transactions will be tested. KZ, we are using number range 15. I'll go to KA. Here also I'll update number range to 15. So that I don't want to create number range 17 now. I don't want to get that error message. But this is not allowed in your real environment. I'm just doing for the practice purpose. KP. Sorry. I have to do it for KP. I did it for KA. OBA7. KA was having how much? 17, right? I have to update it for KP 15. KP, I'll make it 15. Save it. Close this. Enter. Better I'll update the number range. Anyways, it is asking me to come out. KP. What is the error message number range? 48. Let me put 48 and then update. Because it's asking me to come out and then re-enter to reflect number range 15. So instead, it's better I'll update 48 here. DEIN, change interval, insert line, 48 2023, same logic, 48 all zeros, 48 all lines. Save this. Close, hit enter. Now we are able to go inside. It is telling account type K is not defined for document type K. This is because again you have to go to the document type. In document type KP, vendor account is not allowed. So what I'll do, let me open another screen. Same thing, OBA7, KP. In this, vendor account is not selected. That is why the error is coming. Let me select vendor here. According to this checkboxes, whenever you use document type KP, you can either select asset account, material account, GL account. So vendor account is unselected. That is why it is not allowing us to pass this entry because we are using a vendor account number. Tick this vendor, click on save. Let us come here. Let me press enter. This is not reflecting because when we are on this screen, this document type does not have a vendor tick enabled. That is why it is not able to detect. Let me remove it. Put this again. It's not reflecting. No other go. I have to come back and then redo it. Residual payment. Residual payment 20,000. Some text. Vendor account. Document type KP. Now we are able to go inside. Let's go to residual payment. Update the balance amount 40,000. Go to simulate. Double click on this. Input something here. Go back. Let us simulate general ledger. Still the same problem. We are getting the dump here. So it is telling short text. Same error you are getting GLT0/000. Balance code. It is unable to detect profit center or something is happening with the residue amount, the balance amount of 40,000. Let me do it once again, F-53. This time I'll do it by assigning profit center to the bank account. 20,000. To make sure, I'll change the document type first, KP. I'll put profit center, vendor account, residual item, minus 40,000. Let's simulate this. Go back, simulate general ledger. Still the same problem. We are not able to simulate this entry. This is something that we need to check after checking everything from our side, ensuring that from the functional point of view there is no problem. You tried passing this entry with all the possibilities that you can do it, like you did document type change also, assuming because of the document type of functionalities this is not able to split. You did that. You have tested with two things. We've tested with document type KZ where 1000 payments is there. We have also tested with document type KP where 1000 1010 is also available. Now let us test this third time with this one. In short, SA I'll take where you have all zeros. I'm taking SA because in SA all the account types are enabled. For other document types, if you take, all the document types may be enabled or may not be enabled. Let me test with SA now. Go back. F-53, residual payment. I'll put SA. 12, 20,000 profit center vendor account. Let's go to residual items. Minus 40,000 is the balance amount. Let me simulate. Go back, simulate general ledger. Still we are getting the same problem. We are unable to get this document simulated according to general ledger. If that is not happening, system cannot pass the entry.
Sir,
We
can
have
we
to
check the
check for,
company code? Sorry, sir. Sir, can we check the company code whether it is activated for document splitting?
let's go back. Activate document splitting. Let's go to deactivation. DEIN. It is not deactivated. If this tick is there, this is deactivated. If tick is not there, this is activated. Splitting is active. Okay, if the splitting is active, it has to work either of these scenarios. It should work either with your business transaction with all zeros, which is not working, or it has to work with 1010, which is not working, or it has to work with 1000 normal payment, it is not working. Let us verify the zero balance splitting if it is there. Where is that zero balance?
Second one, define zero balance clearing.
Yeah, zero balance clearing account. This is why I'm checking. When passing the entry on the error message, you can check it is giving something related to 000. Let me go to residual items. Minus 40,000. Let me simulate general ledger directly. In this dump, you can see this number as 000.
Yes, sir.
This is talking about balance code. So that 000 wherever you get, this is straight away related to zero balance standard account. Let us verify for this whether we updated any GL account in our company code. DEGR is our chart of account. Currently there is nothing here. Let us do a final checkpoint after assigning this account here, which is zero balance splitting, whether system will bypass that error or not. If still not, then we'll have to see why the error is coming. It is expecting something to be there in the system which is missing. Some checkpoint, some criteria is missing to pass that residual payment. FS00. For this zero balance splitting, you need to create a GL account in the migration account, in short, your technical GL account series. Where do we have technical migration accounts?
Let's set group you have created.
Which group?
The technical clearing account you have created in asset group, fixed assets.
No. We have one dedicated account group for technical accounts. The initial migration, whatever we did, 8 series. What is the group? Takeover accounts. What is this series? 8100. Let me search 81123456. Okay, let me create one GL account in 8 series 81123456. Enter. I'll take this as balance sheet account. Account group, I will take 8100 takeover account. I'll put profit center clearing. Here I'll put profit center clearing account. This is normal and this will be G001. We need to make sure for this document number range, for this GL number range, 8 series, whether classified GL account is completed or not. Eight series, we have completed this. Let me make sure this is activated. Okay, this is in active mode. Let's try passing the entry one more time. We need to make that setting.
Zero balance.
Zero balance clearing account, 000 accounts, chart of account DEGR, add a new entry, put that GL account 81 all zeros. Save this. This is now your profit center clearing account. Next thing, F-53 residual payment bank account 20,000. Let's go to residual tab, put 40,000 minus. Let's go back to simulate. Go back, simulate general ledger. Still the same problem, we are not getting the simulation screen. Even after updating the zero balance clearing account, assuming message number. The message class is GLT0, message number is 000. Let's check if we can find anything with that OBA5 message class. GLT0 and message number is 000. Message number is not allowed here.
TL0 is the classic GL table.
Here you don't have this. Yeah, GLT0 is the classic GL table. Something related to splitting is happening because of document splitting. This is giving this error.
You can assign default profit center.
No, that is not the solution because you may be having different invoices. And when you do this, system should automatically take the original invoice profit center into the balance amount. Because you are selecting the invoice here.
Yes, sir.
So when we are selecting the invoice, your profit center should be supplemented from the invoice document to the profit center and also to the balance amount.
Okay.
Okay, that should happen. Let me show you again. One more point that we forgot to test is with KP document type. We were testing after maintaining the document splitting GL for zero balance. We were updating with KZ. Let me update with KP. I'm giving profit center, residual payment negative 40,000, document simulate, update the text for profit center, balance amount, simulate general ledger. Still the same error.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you just press this Control F?
On this screen,
Yes, yes, Control F. Greater than 3 times sign. And just deselect the starting at current line.
greater than how much?
3 times. 3 times.
This
No, no,
one?
no. Greater than sign 3 times.
This one?
No, no, no. Greater
So
than,
three
greater
times we
than.
have to enter greater than greater than.
And deselect the starting at current line.
This one you mean to say?
Yes, yes, yes. Just click on message X000. Subsequent posting message.
No, we are not supposed to do this.
Actually, in this screen, sometimes they write the logic in plain English, or this is commented one line is subsequent posting message handler is dumb.
This is
So,
somebody using this A000.
pricing. Sir, any configuration from is pending.
No, we have not. This is nowhere related to MM. This is a pure finance transaction. This is internal error. Looping this. Alright, I'll get this verified through them. Because if you change this, it will ask for your SAP key to check all these things. And that will create further complications if you're not sure why the error is coming. First, we need to understand why that error is coming. Because in general, this error is not supposed to come for your residual payment. Even if it comes, it has to disappear when you select the right document splitting functions, but it is not doing. It is still picking the error messages related to classic GL table GLT0, which is not supposed to come into picture. And to ensure that this is saved, are you sure want to cancel? Yes. Activate document splitting. I'm not sure who's this S4HANA. Let us verify this, whether this is splitting everything properly or not. Transaction variant. We were using 1010. Business transaction variant 0001. Assigned item categories. Balance sheet account is there, and you have vendor account. For your bank, you have cash account. All these three accounts are there. It is supposed to split the entry. Next one, in 1000, payment 001, assigned item categories. Here also cash account is there. This is which is mandatory. We have given. Balance sheet account is also there. Vendor account also there. So all three are present. It has to split the entry with this also. With 1000 also it should have split. With 1010 also it should have split. And third one, we tried with 0000 unspecified posting. In this 001 assigned item categories. Here also you have balance sheet account, vendor account, cash account. Here also it should have split, but it is not splitting. That I will get checked. I'll get this error checked and then tell you what was the problem, what we have done to fix this. I'll have to get this through. Yeah. Somebody is
Sir,
saying
in
something.
OBA, yeah, sir, in OBA5, I've maintained 000 uh, as the error message as warning. Could you please check it once, sir?
No, that we should not maintain in OBA5. First of all, this error should not come.
Yes.
This error is not supposed to come first. Now it will allow. If you put as warning, it will allow us to save this. But that is not the solution for it. Let me do it now. F-53 KZ residual payment amount 20,000. Put a profit center. This one residual payment minus 40,000. Simulate. Simulate general ledger. Still it is the same error. Because that is coming from the program. Somebody has written that in the code. So this has to be handled through program only. In the program only we have to handle. We need to find out what exactly the condition they've put. It's coming from a standard message. Where is that message? OBA5. Let's remove it. Okay. Remove that message. It's not relevant. I'll get this tested
Yes.
through ABAP.
Yes.
Okay, residual payment. So we are getting runtime error. Or we are getting something called a dump. This we need to fix. I'll figure it out and then tell you why that error message was coming. Next, let's talk about the other payment, on account payment or open account payment. This residual payment we will continue again once that error message is fixed. Normally, when you talk about on account payment or open account payment, here we are talking about issuing a payment to a vendor, not in the advance form. It's not an advance payment or it's not a down payment. This is just a normal payment, but we do not represent any invoice reference to it. Any payment made without any reference is called as on account payment. Option number one, you can have, let's say, invoice amount is 1000. You made payment 1200. Did we made any excess payment or not? You have made excess payment of 200. Out of 1200, you can allot only 1000 for the invoice. Balance 200, you do not have any invoice to allot or to assign. In this case, 1000 is payment against invoice, 200 is on account payment. Correct? Out of this 1200, 1000 is treated as payment against invoice, 200 is treated as on account payment. Let us see how this on account payment will work. For the same example, if I take the invoice amount is 60,000, let me pass 60,000 to 200 and I'll take 200 as on account payment. F-53, reference I'll put on account payment 60,200 because I need 200 excess vendor account. For on account payment, you will be working on standard functionality only, not the residual, not the partial. Amount entered is 60,000. Amount assigned is 60,000. Sorry, 60,200 is what you have entered. 60,000 is what you have assigned. There is a balance of 200. To allot this 200, I do not have any open invoices. To assign this 200, I don't have any open invoice in the vendor account. No other go, I need to put this 200 as on account payment. For that, you can simply double click on difference posting. If I do a double click on difference posting, let me go to document and then click on simulate. I went to the document, I clicked on simulate. Now let me click on simulate general ledger. Same thing, it is happening here. This is giving runtime error or dump. This is giving runtime error or dump because here also you are putting something into the vendor account without inputting profit center. So this is not able to take. If you look at the error message, it is the same. GLT0 000. Even for on account payment, you are getting the same error message. Let me go back. F-53. Now I am going to try only with on account payment without referring any invoice. I'll take somewhere around 20,000. I'll put profit center. I'll select vendor account, but I'm not selecting any of the existing invoice. Instead, I'll take the complete amount into on account. I'll click on simulate. Let's make sure we have given profit center for the bank account. Let's go back, simulate general ledger. When you do this simulate general ledger, is the system able to take profit center to the vendor account? Is system taking profit center to vendor account or not?
No.
It is not taking vendor account into the profit center. This is the reason. When you fix this problem, your on account payment, your residual payment problem will get automatically sorted out. What system is doing? It is not splitting the profit center, or it is not performing document splitting to take the profit center to the vendor account. That is the reason you are getting that dump. Let us go to expert mode. And let us verify this. inheritance it is not taking, base line item it is taking, and here it is taking, but it is not displaying this here. This is giving some other error, configuration of controlling area currency. So this currency error represents this one. Let's go to SCC4. This is SAR here. Dollar, save it. Let me come back. Simulate general ledger once again. Now is system able to split the profit center? Now system is able to split the profit center. Let me go to expert mode. There are no error messages. This also could be an error message. This also could be a reason for our previous error also. Now let me try passing that residual payment now. F-53 residual payment 20,000. Text, I'll put profit center. Go to residual payment column, minus 40,000. Let's go to document, simulate something in the text, go back, simulate general ledger. Now is it working?
Yes, sir.
Now did we get any clue, any idea because of that this error is coming, because of your controlling area currency, in short your group currency?
No, sir. No, sir.
Any clue anywhere we got? Any relatable clue? No, right? If we were able to simulate general ledger, only then we will be able to know why the document is being failed. That is why whenever you see any error message, whenever you get any problems, do not solve it, do not fix it the way you found on the Google or whatever comes in your mind, because you do not know why the problem is coming first. You should understand why the issue is coming. Only after that you have to do something on the system, because these are the things related to configuration related changes. Am I correct? These are all your configuration changes. After making certain changes in the system, that may work, that may not work. Unless you are sure about the reason or cause for the problem, we are not supposed to do any changes in the system. If you perform any changes, you have to note down all the changes. You have to take down all the screenshots. If you note down again, there is a chance of forgetting. Before noting down what was the problem, you need to take a screenshot. Sorry, what was the setup? Take the screenshot. Later on, amend the configuration. Make sure all your changes are captured in a single TR. Move it to development 200 or development test client. Check all the scenarios there. If it is not working, you need to make sure whatever the changes you did, you have to revoke all the changes. For that, if you added something, delete it. If you deleted something, add it back. If you put some checkbox, remove the checkbox. Whatever you do, you have to do a reverse configuration. Clear? Now, is this a complex problem or it's a simple problem? This is a simple problem that we encountered, but that change of currency in SCC4 is not possible option in a real environment. So that is possible only in the test environment. Ignore that. But keep in your mind, whenever you get any complex problems, are always caused by the simple silly reasons, which will test your patience, which will test your everything. So that is where we normally tend to commit mistakes. Now let me come back. I have given profit center here. I will not give profit center because according to the actual functionality, system has to take profit center from your original invoice to the balance amount. I'm now leaving the profit center blank. process open item, simulate, and then simulate general ledger. Is this taking the profit center? If I go to expert mode, we'll come to know how profit center is taken. If you see, line item number 1 is split base rows, line item number 2 is inheritance via invoice reference, line item number 3 inheritance via clearing. Line item number 1 is your split according to base rows. Line item number 1 profit center is taken based on the splitting or not? Correct? Huh? If I expand this, now look at this. Did we give profit center anywhere manually?
No.
Did I give profit center anywhere manually? No, I did not give profit center manually. I have removed it. For the first line item, which is your bank outgoing GL account, it is telling split according to base rows. It has taken profit center based on the remaining two line items. Line item number 2, line item number 3. Whatever the profit center was there in line item number 2 and line item number 3, accordingly it has taken profit center for bank account. This is based on the splitting. Second one, line item number 2, which is your 40,000. This is the remaining amount, remaining open account, open balance in the vendor invoice. For this, it has taken inheritance via invoice reference. Whatever the invoice you have selected, on that invoice, whatever the profit center was there, that profit center was inherited to the balance amount. In short, it is telling you profit center is taken from company code DEIN, document number 19001, fiscal year 2023, line item number 1. From this document, it has taken profit center based on passive document splitting with inheritance functionality. Third line item, which is your payment amount of 20,000. The original invoice value of 60,000. This is a clearing entry. It is writing inheritance via clearing. It has taken the profit center based on the same logic. Company code DEIN, document number 19 all zeros 1, 2023 fiscal year 001, which means line item number 1. Is profit center manually input here, or it's a pure passive document splitting here? What is
The
it?
passive.
It's a pure passive document splitting here. Nowhere we have given profit center manually. All the 3 rows are taken based on the passive function. Any doubt on this splitting?
No,
In
sir.
your interviews, if somebody is asking you about passive document splitting, they will expect or they will ask you to explain one example and then explain.
Sir,
Even
it's
before they
correct.
ask you about an example, make sure you take entries like this or scenarios like this and then explain how system takes profit center, where you have to talk about passive document splitting, inheritance checkbox on the document splitting, how the entry will come from where the system is taking the profit center. Clear? Let me close
Sir,
this. I'll go back, simulate. Now we'll do it afterwards. Now we are at this stage. We understood why the error was coming. This is because of that group currency change. After posting this entry, current outstanding is 60,000. If you make the payment of a 20,000 residual payment, your vendor account is supposed to show 40,000 balance. Correct? Your vendor account is supposed to show 40,000 balance. Let me go to this document simulation and I'll try to post this entry. Now this entry has been posted. Let me go to vendor line item report. I'll do a refresh. When I do a refresh, I'm expecting 40,000 balance here. Click on document, list, refresh. It is giving 40,000 here, but this 40,000 is showing as a due. But your original invoice was overdue, correct? Our original invoice was overdue. Whatever the residual item it has passed, this is showing us due date. Now the disadvantages of this due date is your aging will go for a toss. You will not be able to prepare the right or correct aging reports for vendor or for customer if you are using residual payment method. Because my original invoice, let me go back and I'll pull all the transactions, all items. If you look at the original invoice, which is KR, for KR your document date was 5th June 2023. When you do the residual payment, system is taking the next document date, which is your current document date of 24/06/2023. Due date is becoming 24/06. But previous due date was 5th 5/6. Now it has become 24/6. Is there any change in the due date for the balance amount? Technically, there will be any change or there will be no change. Because it's a one invoice, it is we who is making the partial payment. We are making the partial payment. We need to make sure the balance amount is also due on the same date. If the original invoice was overdue, the balance amount, which is 40,000, should also be overdue. When you pull the aging report, according to this entry, is your aging report going to come proper or your aging report will be wrong?
Aging report
This
come to proper, sir.
aging report will come incorrect because you are going to calculate aging based on the due dates. Your original invoice was due on 5th June. Your original invoice was due on 5th June. Out of 60,000, how much you paid? 20,000.
Yes, sir.
Now balance amount was 40,000. This
40,000.
40,000, is it a new invoice or the same invoice?
Same invoice.
If the original invoice was due on 5th June, the balance amount is supposed to be due on 5th June only. Correct?
Yes, correct, sir.
Did we receive two invoices from the supplier or only one single invoice?
Only one single.
Only one single invoice. This invoice is supposed to be due on the same date. Even when you pass a residual payment, you need to make sure the document date you will take as the original invoice date. Document date you will take as original invoice date. For this to happen, while posting the entry, user will have to change it manually. Let me open this line item. Let me go to change mode. And here user will have to change the due date to 05/06 manually. Now user might change, user may not change. Now if you see this, due date has become, sorry, where is it? This line item, let me refresh. Now if you check, due date has become past. Correct?
Yes.
Now when my document date is current, when my posting date is current, on what basis my due date is going past? This is again another question.
Yes.
Right? If my document date is today, my due date cannot be yesterday. Agree?
Yes, sir.
So
It
for
can be.
this to
It
happen,
cannot be passed.
we should have updated while posting the entry document date also the past date of the original invoice date. Your invoice date was what? 5th June. While making the payment entry on F-53, here we should have put document date as 05/06/2023 and posting date as payment date. Now these many conditions, these many minute points will have to be monitored, noticed when you want to make a residual payment. It is not that just like that you can pass a residual payment, you can simulate the entry. You have to consider all these things because every point will have an impact on your subsequent reporting or subsequent accounting. Your aging report will go wrong. Now, instead of paying this immediately, you may end up knowing that this is not due. Whatever the aging analysis that you are doing will be wrong, incorrect, because
It's
your due
incorrect.
date has been updated and you do not know what is the original invoice for this. If I look at this, what is the document type that you are able to see here?
KZ.
KZ. According to us,
KZ
KZ
related
is
to
invoice
payment.
or payment?
It's
According
payment.
to us, anybody who looks
It
at
is a
the
payment.
document type KZ, they assume that this is a payment. But actually, is this a payment or this is outstanding invoice?
It is outstanding.
This is outstanding invoice. We need to make sure all these minute points are taken care. Even in this, you will be able to see the invoice reference column updated, but this is not giving you the right information. This is not giving you the right picture because you have lost the chain of original invoice.
Yes.
If I wanted to look at this, I will be looking at the original invoice number. I should also make sure my users will change the reference to the original invoice number. Let's say when I say that, if I go to this document, whenever you post vendor invoice, in the header reference, you should always put invoice 123. This is what is mandatory whenever you post any vendor invoice. Let me refresh this now. Whenever you post vendor invoice, this becomes mandatory. Whatever the document number, whatever the invoice number that you have on the physical invoice or physical bill of your supplier will be inputted or will be given as a mandate input on your reference field of the invoice document. Now I'll be going ahead with this, not with this. If my vendor is asking for payment, vendor is going to tell me about the invoice number of supplier, not document number of yours, correct? On the bill, whatever the number is mentioned, that number he will mention asking for the payment. Agree? He'll tell my invoice number 123 is due. We have not yet received the payment. Now, considering that, you will be going and checking in the reference column for INV 123. If you check INV 123, let's say you have updated INV 123, which is already showing us cleared. You can see this as green. According to you, when you see it green, you are under an impression that this is already paid, right? Now, if I look at the other one, which is the residual line item, which is opened up for the residual payment, here it is not having this invoice number. I have to instruct my user, please input this document number here. But this is a payment document. For payment document, I may be using reference column for updating the check number or bank transfer number, correct? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
For bank payment, we will be using reference field for updating check numbers or bank transfer numbers. If I ask user to input INV 123 here, my treasury team or my cash team, bank account team, in short, the banking related department, they will not be able to know what is the check number for this, what is the UTR number or transaction reference number for this. Now there are certain conflicts, there are certain drawbacks by using this residual payment. It has to be handled very sensitively. Even if you follow all the instructions properly, you will not be able to know the original payment tract. Now if I split this, if I make another residual payment of, what is the next residual payment? 10,000 from this 40,000. Let's see what will happen. This 40,000 will disappear, another 10,000 will come. Let me put another residual payment for 10,000. I'll put with the same date. Residual payment number 2. This time it will be 10,000. Residual payment number 2. Same vendor account. I'll go to residual payment. I am making 10,000, which means balance will be 30,000. In residual payment, you will be always giving the balance amount, not the payment amount. Simulate. Make sure you put something in the text. Go back. Post. Entry posted. Now if I refresh the report, we are supposed to get 30,000. Even in your Excel sheet, after second residual payment, the balance amount will be 30,000. Let me refresh this. The balance amount is 30,000. If I go back, do you still hold the invoice reference as the same, or it is changing?
Still same.
It is still same.
And
Whether you use partial payment or whether you will use residual payment, invoice reference will always pick the original invoice number only. It will not change. It will not change. It will become the original invoice number only because you are selecting the document. But if I come back here, if I want to track, if I want to have a clear representation, point number one, I get confused by looking at the document type KZ. I may be under an impression KZ, this is a payment. But unless I go and check, this amount is negative sign. I do not know that this is not a payment amount. This is an outstanding value. Agree? Unless and until you check the amount with sign, whether it is a positive number or it is a negative number, you do not know whether this is actual payment document or an outstanding document. If this is a positive number, yes, this is a payment, on account payment or open account payment or unadjusted unallocated payment. But if this is a negative number, this is an outstanding amount, we are liable to pay to the vendor. By looking at a document type KZ, we may ignore it. Right? When somebody is looking at the document type KZ, they don't try to make the payment for it because mentally everybody is fixed that KZ is a payment. Agree? So these kind of complex things will be there, minute points, but will matter a lot. All these points, all these drawbacks you have to talk if somebody is asking you about why you don't use residual payment. First thing, your invoice chain is locked. The original invoice number has gone, which should not have happened. Because of this reason, we will be using partial payment to make sure the original invoice remains open as long as the total amount is paid. The moment you make the complete amount payment, at that moment you are going to clear the original invoice. Till then, your original invoice remains open. Clear how to pass this residual payment? In the residual payment, you need to make sure you will not input the profit center. System will take the profit center based on passive document splitting function. When you do the simulation, try to understand the accounting entry. Make sure you have no confusion. You are able to explain the passive document splitting along with an example with accounting entry. Clear? This on account payment we will do in the next session. First you focus on the residual payment, then we will do this on account payment. If you do residual payment, on account payment is similar to residual payment. In residual payment there will be invoice amount plus balance amount. In the on account payment there is no invoice amount, it is only balance amount. Any questions?
so if suppose the client will ask to uh, develop the residual method, we have to inform them through all the these drawbacks. So
Yes.
if they ask any standard and customized setting, how we will be react on that?
No, first thing, if your client wants to use residual payment, you will tell them upfront that the payment history, payment back tracing is not possible. That is possible only with partial payment, not possible with residual payment. You will upfront tell your client. Even after if they say, you have already informed that these are not possible, these are not accurate. Even SAP does not recommend to go for residual payment. Still, if they say that yes, we want to go ahead with residual payment, you will be giving a heads up at the beginning itself reporting, payment backtracing is not possible. Even if you try to do it, it will not be accurate, because this is straight away connected to user discipline. Your document date, your posting dates, your due dates, payment terms, everything will get updated. Document type will get updated from your invoice type to payment type. There may be certain reports where your report is designed to work based on the document type. There may be different users, there may be different other reports wherein we are selecting wherever you want to represent invoice outstanding. So you may be picking invoice outstanding based on the document type KRRE or whatever. The moment you look at a document type KZ, you may be ignoring KZ is a payment. But ideally, this is an invoice. In any of your reports, this may be excluded or this may be ignored. These are all the risks or drawbacks by using residual payment method. All these points you will have to inform to your client at the beginning itself, and you will tell we will recommend partial payment over residual payment. Even SAP recommends to use partial payment instead of residual payment. If still they want to use it, it is up to them. They can utilize it, but you need to ensure you will tell all the drawbacks, disadvantages of it. Once you explain all this, later on if anything happens, you can have something to back up, stating we have already given a heads up, we have already informed that this is not recommended. If you do not mention all these points, later on they will come back, my aging report is coming wrong, or my due dates are calculated incorrectly, we are not able to identify this residual payments in my outstanding report, or this is creating a confusion. Yes, all these things we've already informed at the beginning itself, still you wanted to proceed. Then later on they might come back asking you to change, please change this residual payment into partial payment. But your client will listen to you provided on what basis you are telling, how you are explaining them, how you are projecting them, how you are showcasing them with a practical scenario in the test system or in the any other demonstration system. Because when we normally tell, the other person may understand, they may not understand. Sometimes why they don't understand, currently majoritarily what will happen, whatever we feel is difficult, we tell this is not possible. Clients, your users are also smart enough to understand whether this is possible, whether this is not possible. Point number one, you need to keep in your mind, your client also does Google. If you are getting any error, don't think that your client is blindly sending to you, they will also Google it. Every client, every user is smart enough currently. They have learned this from consultants only. Consultants will Google any error that you get, they will Google it. Help.sap.com, scn.sap.com, some sites will come. Users will also start doing the same thing. Some users are even more smart, they will send you the Google links also. We are getting this error, when I Googled, I found this link, hope this will be helpful. When you say certain things that no, this is not possible and all, no surprise, you may get a Google link from your user, can you please check this link? Which means you have to be smart enough, to handle your client. You may get any kind of a client, one who does not know anything, one who knows certain things, one who knows everything. But make sure you are able to handle everyone. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, how should I write off vendor minor payment, sir?
Vendor, the payment differences,
Minor
the
amount.
residue balances.
Yes, sir. Like 100 rupees, 200 rupees. How should I write it off? And how many lines would be get generated and which posting keys should I use?
When you want to do such kind of postings, normally what you will do, you will pass a manual JD.
In F-02.
In any screen, in F-02 or anywhere.
But we will not get invoice references, sir.
You will not get invoice reference. When you are knocking off, when you are setting off, there is no point of invoice reference. because these things will not be posted on invoice level. These things will be posted at vendor account level. This is vendor account level adjustment, not invoice level adjustment. Normally these things are found out during the reconciliations. During the reconciliations, what you will do, you will analyze the vendor aging reports and all. How many invoices are outstanding which we need to pay from based on the aging bracket. Let's say 0 to 30 days, what is our outstanding? 30 to 60 days, 60 to 90 days, or 120 to 180 days. Over 1 year, over 2 years, what is the outstanding? Let's say over 1 year you have an invoice which is having 20,000 outstanding. Out of 20,000 you have negotiated with vendor, your vendor agreed to take 18,000 on it. They said, okay, we will waive 2,000, you can pay 18,000. Point number one,
Okay.
you can ask a debit note or a credit memo from your vendor for 2,000. Your vendor may give, your vendor may not give. In these kind of situations, vendor will not give you. He will tell, we have posted one debit against your account in our system for 2,000, so you can make 18,000, we will clear the invoice.
Okay.
Now what you have to do, option number one, you need to pass a debit in the vendor account for 2,000. Just like that, we cannot pass without any documentation. Either you need email confirmation from the vendor stating that we have adjusted 2,000 in our account to show the outstanding of 18,000. This normally vendors may not tell.
Okay.
Option number two, when you perform the reconciliation, you may negotiate with your vendor. You, in the sense, your finance team might negotiate with the vendor. They say that, okay, instead of 20, we will pay only 18,000.
Okay.
In that time, they will tell, okay, for these invoices, please settle in one time. Instead of 20,000, you pay 18,000 and clear the documents or clear the open invoices. In this case, your invoice amount, that may be single invoice, that may be collective invoices, multiple invoices. Total amount is 20,000 and you are going to pay 18,000. What you will do, you will put 18,000 only here. Okay. You will put 18,000, you will proceed inside. You will select, let's say 18,000 only. Whatever the balance you have here, let it be 120 rupees or anything. You will take this 120 rupees into this charge of difference. You will take this to charge of difference, and here what you will do, let me process open item. What is this balance, debit or credit?
Debit.
What is this balance? Is this a debit balance or a credit balance? Hmm?
Are you talking of the not assigned?
Is this a debit balance or a credit balance?
Debit.
Debit or credit? On what basis it is debit?
Minus symbol is not.
Minus symbol is not there. This is a debit balance. I'll go ahead with your logic. Let me go to charge of difference. If it is debit balance, posting key is 40. Correct?
Hmm.
I'll take this to any one expense account. Normally, you will charge this to miscellaneous GL accounts.
Okay.
Debit, I'll put star. I'm not getting any amount. That is not a debit balance.
Okay.
If I take debit entry, if I put star, amount should come. Whatever is the balance there should reflect here. I'll put 0. Now I'll put credit balance 50. Now I'll put star, enter. Cost center. Is it picking the amount now?
Hmm.
Now let me remove this. I'll go to process open item once again. What is this 12,000, debit or credit? Remember, you're not assigned, will not show you positive negative symbol. Your amount symbol will not show positive negative symbol. Here it is showing properly negative balance, but here it is not showing. If your balance not assigned is what? It's a balance amount, balancing figure between debit and
Sir,
credit.
yes, yes.
I'll do a simple this one. I'll put debit, I'll put credit. When I put debit, when I put credit, currently your vendor account contains 30,000 credit balance, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're trying to put a debit in vendor account or you're trying to put a credit in vendor account?
Debit in the vendor account,
For how much?
12,000, 18,000,
18,000. Your payment amount is what you're trying to post. This is
18,000.
18,000. I'll put 18,000 here. If I do a total and if I want to close this, if I wanted to do a total, if I wanted to close this, are these amounts the same total?
No, sir.
These totals are not same. To balance this, where should I put? What is the balance first of all? 12,000.
On the credit side.
12,000 is the balance. This 12,000 should I put on the debit side? Should I put on the credit side?
Debit side.
Now, is it matching?
Sir.
Is this a positive number, negative number? What is this
Positive.
number? Positive. What are you getting here? Positive 12,000, negative 12,000. Is it positive 12,000? So system is showing correctly 12,000 positive.
Yes, sir.
System is showing correctly. But the way you understand should be different. You have to see it from the business point of view. You have to see it from the accounting point of view. If you see it, you are playing with two accounts at the same time. Correct?
Hmm.
You are playing with two accounts at the same time. When you are playing with two accounts at the same time, what you need to do, you need to debit this to vendor account or you need to credit this to vendor account.
Debit. Credit, credit,
What
credit.
what should happen to this 12,000 in vendor? It should be debited to vendor or it should be credited to vendor. Is this 12,000 currently sitting in vendor account or you are trying to add it in vendor account?
Trying to add it to the account.
You look at this, your current outstanding. Your current outstanding is 30,000. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You are making payment of 12,000. Balance is 18,000. Sorry, your payment is 18,000. Balance is 12,000. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this 12,000 already there in the vendor account or you're trying to add it to vendor account or you're trying to remove it from vendor account? What is the expectation or intention?
It is there in the vendor account. I wanted to write it.
It is already there in vendor account. We want to remove it from vendor account. If it is already there in vendor account, is it a debit in vendor account currently or is it a credit in vendor account currently?
It is credit.
It is
Credit.
Credit.
it is credit. It is a credit. Now, when you are doing this 12,000, what are we doing? We are trying to do a charge of difference, correct? When you're trying to charge off the difference, entry is automatically posted to the vendor account. Entry is automatically posted to the vendor account. You have to see the impact from the offsetting account. In your vendor account, what it will become to make it zero?
Debit.
In vendor and in offset. In vendor it will be debit 12 or credit 12.
Debit 12.
In offsetting,
Credit.
are these two lines clear? In vendor, currently there is a credit balance of 12,000. You want to remove this 12,000. To remove this 12,000, you need to put a debit in vendor account. You are already initiating a transaction from vendor screen. From vendor screen, by clicking on charge of difference, you are coming here. The moment you click on charge of difference, this 12,000 is automatically applicable to your vendor account. Ignore the vendor account. Okay. The moment you click on charge of difference, now your vendor account is already taken into consideration. You need to put only the balance account, in short the offsetting account. In offsetting account, it should be debit or credit.
Credit.
Credit. Here I am writing 50. I am not writing vendor account here. What I am writing? I am writing the GL account where I am charging off the difference.
Yes, sir.
So you have to look at the impact in your offsetting account, not the impact in the vendor account. If you look at from the vendor point of view, you will always be wrong because you will be thinking the reverse, ulta.
Hmm.
You should, if you look at here, you are not writing vendor account here, correct? Is this vendor
Hmm.
account?
No,
Not a
sir.
vendor account. This is the offsetting account. Look at the impact in your offsetting account. It's a credit. You put
Credit.
star, it should bring the amount. Put cost center, it has brought the amount from there automatically.
Yes, sir.
Now let me simulate this entry. Your vendor account has been taken care automatically. 30,000 it has taken now.
Hmm.
18,000 is cleared based on the payment from the bank account. 12,000
Hmm.
is offsetting to a GL account. You are charging 12,000 to the P&L, assuming this is not paid. So you are either treating this as a loss or you are treating this as a gain.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? If you're charging off the amount that is supposed to be paid, you will be treating that as a gain. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You're charging off
Correct.
something not to be paid, then that is treated as a loss.
Hmm.
So that is what is happening here.
4 line items will get generated.
The third one is because of exchange rate differences. Only 3 line items will get generated. This is exchange rate difference. If I go to group currency, let's simulate general ledger to understand this clearly. It's only only 3.
Okay. Okay. 50.
It's only 3. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let me stop this recording.